Folks, if you're inside the tent, please step outside for the Pledge of Allegiance and the singing of the national anthem. Now here to sing the national anthem, it is Richmond's own American Idol, Elliot Yamin.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Elliot. Elliot Yamin, Richmond's own American Idol. I want to thank E1 Purpose Music Group. We were expecting the No Limit skydiving team for a spectacular jump here today. And this young man here thinks he sees him. Do you see him up there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I think you were right. I think you're right. I think that's them. You see him?
I think they're about to jump out.
I don't see him. Boy, this is great anticipation. This is almost as great as the anticipation for July 25th when the Redskins come to town. Here they come, the No Limit skydiving team. A couple minutes late, but nonetheless, they are coming down as we open the brand new Secours Washington Redskins Training Center. Here we go. Wearing the 21 Redskins jersey. All right, folks, moving the program under the tent. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the second half of our program here at the Bon Secours Washington Redskins Training Center. We've got some very distinguished members of our Richmond City Council we'd like to announce, along with some very special young guests from their districts. We welcome from the West End 1st District, Jonathan T. Belisle. And from the North Central 2nd District, Charles R. Samuels. From the North Side 3rd District, Chris A. Hilbert. From the Southwest 4th District, it is Kathy C. Graciano. From the Central 5th District, Parker C. Egelesto. From the Gateway 6th District, Ellen F. Robertson. From the East and 7th District, Cynthia I. Newbill. From the Southside 8th District, Reva M. Trammell. From the South Central 9th District, Michelle R. Mosby. Big round of applause for our City Council and their guests from their respective districts. Also, a big round of applause for the First Ladies of Football, the Washington Redskins cheerleaders who made the trip to Richmond, Virginia. Got some very, very special distinguished guests here as well. Please welcome David Beldy from Bon Secours. All right. Also, Peter Bernard from Bon Secours is here. Come on out, Peter.
Peter? There he comes.
Also, the mayor of Richmond, Virginia, the Honorable Dwight Jones. We have the governor from the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable Bob McDonnell. And we have Redskins legendary Super Bowl MVP quarterback Joe Theismann. Also, some additional guests. We have our local football champions and athletic directors from Richmond City High Schools. We have Huguenot High School is here. Where are they? Might have said that wrong. Armstrong High School. George Wythe High School. Thomas Jefferson High School. John Marshall High School. Last but not least, Richmond City Superintendent of Secondary Education, Dr. Thomas Beatty. And Richmond Director of School Athletics, Stephanie Ramsey. Once again, thank you to everyone for being here today. It is a very special day for all involved. The Washington Redskins, so proud to be associated with this world-class facility. So proud to call Richmond home for training camp. And we're going to hear from our dignitaries in a moment. Before we begin, as is the custom with Bon Secours, we begin with the program with a reflection. Please welcome David Beldy, Senior Vice President for Mission, Bon Secours Richmond Health Systems.
Good afternoon. It is both a pleasure and an honor to offer the opening reflection for our gathering today. And as Larry said, it is the tradition of Bon Secours as a Catholic healthcare ministry to see and view the places where we work as holy ground, and of course this would be no exception. And so we ask today for God's enduring blessing upon all the spaces in which we serve. Continuing this tradition today, I ask you all who are present, to join me as we seek God's blessing on this space, a space which will bind our community, bring health and healing, and advance the virtues of team and sport. So let us pray. God of all goodness, on this special day, we gather as grateful members of this growing and vibrant community. Trusting in you, we join one another in dedicated service, seeking to use this communal space in order to bring health, wholeness, and safety to our city. We ask that you extend your holy blessing over this entire space, its fields, offices, classrooms, and places of healing. May all who use this complex do so with the knowledge that victory often comes to us in the sacred moments on the journey toward our destination, not only in the final score. We ask your blessing on all those teams who transform the idea of this space into the sacred reality we see today. The organizations, the planners, the architects, the builders and laborers, and all those whose participation was critical to the success of this project. We thank them for their tireless devotion, and we trust that through your constant presence, the relationships these teams have forged along the way will continue to yield blessings for the good of our community. In God's holy name, together we say, amen.
Thank you, David. It's now my pleasure to introduce a man who has become a very important part of the Redskins family, a man who's shown amazing dedication throughout the process, his commitment to this project, and today we're standing right in the middle of the proof of his commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, Peter Bernard, CEO of Bon Secours Virginia Health System.
Well, thank you very much, Larry, and thanks also to a great relationship. I think back about picking up the telephone this last fall, and it was with the mayor and the governor, and I said, "You want us to do what?" And but seriously, what a great day with skydivers, the children's with the Pledge of Allegiance, the band. Everything couldn't have been better. Even the good Lord held off with the weather, and we're in good shape. So we'll give the sisters a little bit of credit on that as well. But be that as it may, this really is a world-class facility. I hope you get an opportunity to tour it later on as we add some of our programs around fitness and wellness for the community, activities that we're proud of in terms of giving back to the poor and the underserved with our caravan activities that what we call Moving Mania, which is the ability for us to address childhood obesity, and that'll be headquartered here as well. And it was kind of a long and stressful process over the last 6 months, but Horrigan and Mark did just an awesome job. I know that they poured themselves into this effort. Many people to be thankful for. The list is long. I pared it back to 3. I'd like to recognize my Vice President for Advocacy, Jim Dunn. I'd like to recognize Charlotte Perkins for her tireless energy and what she's done over the and then a guy that I've become very fond of through the years, working together for 20-some years, brought here from Louisville with me, my Vice President for Construction, Richard Manta. So thank you. So the excitement's about to begin. I think it was mentioned earlier that July 25th, we're going to have 3 weeks of the Redskins here, and we're just real excited about what that brings to the community, the tens of thousands of fans for their enjoyment, and again, some of the primary care activities that will also be part of this fabulous facility. And with that, I just again want to thank the ministry of our board of directors at all, supporting us in this public-private relationship, not only with the governor's office, but we're proud of our efforts with the city. And so it gives me great honor to introduce an individual that's worked very diligently in terms of his visionary leadership, and that's the Honorable Mayor Dwight Jones.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is a great day for the city of Richmond, a great day for all of us who are gathered here, a day that we've been waiting for a long time. I just want to recognize some of the fine elected officials that we have here today. You've seen our city council, and I'd just like for them to stand again so that you can see the folks who made this happen, along with the administration, Richmond City Council. Let's give them a big round of applause. They've done a wonderful job. And we want to thank them for their cooperation in this endeavor. I told Peter Bernard that I don't think I've ever seen anything happen this fast in my 40 years in Richmond, Virginia. So we're going to have to turn this over to this crowd to get some other things done. I also want to recognize some of our elected. State Senator Henry Marsh is here. Henry, stand up. And Delegate Joe Morrissey is here, and Delegate John Cox, Delegate Dolores McQuinn, Delegate Rosalind Dance, and we also have the Vice Chairman of the Board of Supervisors from Chesterfield, Steve Elswick. Steve, where are you? There he is. And the County Administrator, Jay Stegmeyer is here. And of course, Bobby Scott, our Congressman, who's everywhere. We want to thank our electeds for coming today. They've been extremely supportive, and it signifies and symbolizes how great this day really is. We have had several things that have happened leading up to this day. Just a few days ago, we were here for the Hard Hat Tour. We had many meetings with our site selection committee. And if there are any members of the site selection committee that are here, would you stand? Because you did a great job, those who worked to choose this site. Thank you so much for your work as well. And all of that has led us to this grand opening today. And let me tell you, Bon Secours knows how to put on a grand opening. And we want to thank them for preparing this day. All of the work that we have done allows us to say that we're proud to present to you today the Bon Secours Washington Redskins Training Center. It is done, and we're so happy. And this has been a cooperative agreement between Bon Secours, the Washington Redskins, the Economic Development Authority, and the City of Richmond. And we want to thank everybody who had their hands in this. And this has all been directed toward our goal of stimulating tourism, job creation, and new investment, particularly in underserved areas. And so this training center has and will continue to impact our region. It will impact our region by the jobs that it has provided, the general contractors, the construction companies and developers, as well as the subs and the local vendors. If they were here today, they'd say, "Amen, Reverend Mayor, we've done well in this particular endeavor." It's presently going to impact the hundreds of vendors who are being engaged locally and regionally in the marketing of the events that will take place here, the merchandising areas, and through print television and radio advertising. And as we look forward to the future and the tens of thousands of visitors that are going to be coming, we're going to be positively impacted by those who are going to be traveling to the city of Richmond and impacting our local economy. And to that end, we are in the position now of working to put together fan packages. We're developing them now that will combine Redskins practices, dinners, and Squirrels games. Packages like this will highlight our local and regional offerings. And our city residents and local businesses are going to benefit by this training facility. The city is going to benefit from the invaluable added national media attention that's going to come to the city. And the residents are going to benefit by the development of a kid-oriented physical fitness programming situation that will take place 48 weeks out of the year when the Redskins are not here. There will also be opportunities for great things to be happening on this site. So this is a win-win, and we're just as excited as we can be that this day has come to fruition. Let me just thank our team that put all of this together, the Richmond Economic Development Authority. Thank you so much for the tireless effort that you put into this event. 3 North Architects, the Timmons Group, and the Horrigan Construction Company. As I said before, this was miracle working to get this done in such a short period of time. So will you join me in thanking them as well? And then there are a couple of members of my team who have just gone above and beyond, who have worked beyond their expectation, and I just want to give them a personal thank you today. And so Jane Farrar and Suzette Denlow and Byron, we want to thank you. And Tammy, thank you so much for doing a great job. Stand up. Just stand up. Thank you. Thank you. Great job. And so this is a grand day, and when I mentioned all of our partners, I did not mention the Commonwealth of Virginia. But let me say that we could not have been here today was it not for the state government and the state of Virginia. And we would not be here today if it was not for Governor Bob McDonnell. The governor has done a wonderful job of maintaining consistent interest in this particular opportunity for the city and for the state. And we want to publicly express our appreciation to him for standing by this particular project from the very beginning. He has been here before for several events, and he is with us today, and I'm very, very proud to be able to present to you the Governor of the Commonwealth of the state of Virginia, Governor Bob McDonnell. Let's stand and receive our governor as he comes. Thank you, Dwight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you all very much. And Mayor Jones, I appreciate your leadership on this project and all the members of the City Council here from the great capital city of Richmond for capturing this vision and working with the Redskins and Loudoun County and so many others over this last year and a half to be able to make this happen. This is another great win. So we'll have everybody from the Redskins to the bicyclists here over the next couple of years, thanks to your tremendous leadership in the sports area. Larry Michael, great to see you. And I know you're here representing the Redskins organization. I want to congratulate all of those leaders, Coach Shanahan, Dan Snyder, Bruce Allen, and all of those who worked hard early on to try to make this happen, because this is a great day for Richmond. It's a great day actually for Loudoun County and really all the Commonwealth of Virginia. Moving this training camp down here does so many things. Not only do the young people here, well, young and old, get to see the Redskins practice for a couple of weeks, but Loudoun County now is going to be the permanent home for the Washington Redskins and everything that goes with it. And that's just tremendous for our state. It's 1,832 jobs. It's $200 million of economic activity. My favorite stat, Dwight, it's $9.8 million of tax revenue for local and state governments. And, you know, that's why we partner together with the city and the Redskins to be able to make this happen, to bring this marvelous training facility down here to Richmond. I'm delighted to be here with my friend Joe Theismann, fellow Notre Dame graduate, one of the great Redskin players of all time. And I'm delighted to have all of you here to celebrate what really is a remarkable day for us. You know, I was talking to some of the young players coming in, and to be able to have world-class players come down here that have made it to the big time, that will be role models for some of these young folks that can go out into the community like many have with the Play 60 campaign and some of the other things that the Redskins have done for many years here in Richmond. Richmond Mayor, I think, is going to be terrific for these student athletes of any age, to be able to see these marvelous players that wear the burgundy and gold and who would do a great job on the field and off the field, in schools and in the community and in the charitable organizations, to be able to help set high standards and be a great inspiration for some of these young people that are here today. And there's no doubt that they'll be able to do that again for these 3-4 weeks while they're down here during the summer. Now, I hope there's no concern, Larry. I see that RG3 just got married. I hope that's not going to slow him down any, is it? Okay, that's good. Okay. Well, I was married to a Redskin cheerleader 37 years ago, and I've slowed down a little bit myself. So I have to say that I've been a fan now for some 45 years of the burgundy and gold, having grown up in Fairfax County, and now to have them here almost literally in our backyard to practice, to see them during this month of August, July and August, is going to be a real treat. I think it's going to be a boost also, Mayor, for the Science Museum, which is right here. I know attendance has picked up some, but this is a marvelous resource we have here in Richmond to get young people excited about the STEM disciplines, about the sciences, about math, about things that can help get them interested in the natural world and help get them headed towards a career that can be very fruitful and profitable for them personally. And I think this is a great place for this facility to be located. So as a lifelong Redskin fan, I'm delighted that this facility is here. I want to recognize Lieutenant Governor Bill Bowling and his wife Jean Ann that are here with us today, the Chief Jobs Creation Officer of Virginia. He's done a great job bringing that unemployment rate down to 5.2%, and my guess is with the Redskins coming and expanding down here, that rate's going to go down even a little bit more. And Bob Slett, our Senior Economic Advisor, who's also the Chairman of the Board at Bon Secours. Thank you, Bob, for your great work. And our Deputy Secretary of Commerce and Trade, Kerry Cantrell, who really helped do most of the work with the Redskins and Virginia Economic Development Partnership to provide a little bit of state support to be able to make this happen. Kerry, thank you as well for all you've done. So on behalf of the 8.2 million people of Virginia, it's a tremendous honor to be governor. And I know I'm not supposed to say that the Redskins are Virginia's team, because that got me in trouble last time. But it is the team that people from Virginia love because so many of the season ticket holders come from our great Commonwealth, and we certainly provide so much to the fan base. And I know as a longtime Redskin fan, this is a great day. Now, it's not just Loudoun County, but it's now Richmond that's got a claim into the Washington Redskins, and people now from Southside Virginia, Southwest, from Roanoke and Hampton Roads now have a short drive to watch their great team practice. So for all of you, let's celebrate this marvelous day, and I look forward to being back here in a couple weeks and watching them practice. Thanks very much.
Well, this is the championship facility, and let me remind you, it will be home to the defending NFC East champions come July 25th. But the Redskins are not satisfied. Redskins are not satisfied with the season last year. While it was a great year, and everybody is super excited about Robert Griffin III and his comeback trail, which will unfold right on these practice fields beginning on July the 25th. He will be here. His status we do not know yet. But the Redskins are not satisfied with an NFC East championship because of guys like that. Because there are 3 trophies in the lobby at Redskins Park, 3 Super Bowl championships. And without that man, of course I'm pointing at Joe Theismann, not the governor. Okay? Without that man, that first trophy might not be there. And we are so honored to have Joe Theismann with us today. Joe, come on up.
Governor McDonald said he was cheering real hard. Does that count for anything? Honorable Mayor Jones, Mr. Bernard, Governor McDonald, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for this opportunity to be here and wear the uniform of the Washington Redskins. I have my logo on. I chose not to wear a suit today only because I feel like this is honoring the state, this community, the city of Richmond, and a fantastic football organization. The Washington Redskins have dedicated themselves to enhancing life for everybody. And coming here to Richmond will give us an opportunity to be able to showcase our great athletes to so many more people from such a broader area. We appreciate the opportunity to be here. The Bon Secours facility is going to be magnificent. Just having taken a tour of it, I know the players are going to be very excited. And moving away from the Washington, D.C. area, speaking from personal experiences, it's great to get a team away under one roof in a facility where there's absolute total control by the coaches of what everybody does and where they go. You build a sense of camaraderie, you build a sense of care about one another, and you really build that thing called team. And that's what the Redskins have been all about. Over the last 4 years, Mike Shanahan, Bruce Allen, and Dan Snyder have worked very hard to create the foundation of an organization that will not only win in 2012 and 2013, but will continue to win going forward. And having a first-class training facility like this to be able to come to camp for only 3 weeks. People say, well, gee, it's just 3 weeks. It's 3 very important weeks. If you talk to some of the young players with the Washington Redskins, these 3 weeks will be the single most important 3 weeks of their life. They will either make a football team or they will not make a football team. They will impress coaches or they'll be asked to leave. So what we have to your left and my right here is a field of opportunity, a field of dreams. And that's what's really been created here in Richmond, in the state of Virginia, through tremendous effort by councilmen, administrators, sponsorships, organizations. Everybody has worked hard to make sure that the Bon Secours Washington Redskin training camp facility will be world class. So far, what I've seen, it's gone beyond that. Like Edward Bennett Williams used to say about George Allen, he said, I gave him an unlimited budget and he exceeded it. We all had a dream what this facility would look like, and it's been exceeded. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for this opportunity.
One thing worth noting, the Redskins in the community coming up over the next month or so are going to be taking part in a lot of different activities, and we have determined who our Bon Secours community partners will be in 2013 here for training camp. And that is the purpose of these jerseys. Ryan Kerrigan, our Pro Bowl linebacker, number 91. And one of the most likable guys on earth, number 46, Alfred Morris. They have agreed to be our Bon Secours community partners, and we're so proud of them for what they do off the field as much as what they do on the field. Now I've got a couple, Peter, we'll put these over here. Got a couple special jersey presentations. Where are the jerseys? Joe, if I could ask you to come up, please. First jersey presentation will be from Joe Theismann to Mr. Peter Bernard from Bon Secours for all that Bon Secours has done in making this dream become a reality. And Mayor and Governor, if I could have you stand right here for a special presentation to the Mayor of Richmond, Virginia. And this is an appreciation for all that Mayor Jones has done. There you go. Richmond is number one. For our still photographers and for the video guys around back, photo op right here. So beginning on July the 25th and for 17 days, camp will be open to the public. Admission is free. So if you live in Richmond, Virginia, you got a short trip. If you're from the surrounding areas, it's time to book your road trip to Richmond. And we're looking forward to the 2013 training camp kickoff on July 25th. Thank you to everyone involved today. We appreciate everybody attending this event.
Hey, Governor, you mentioned in the tent that the Redskins now have a permanent home in Virginia. How permanent is permanent, and how much did this facility add to that, security of keeping them in the Commonwealth?
Well, an awful lot. We knew that the Redskins had options. They've been located in Loudoun County, Virginia, that Ashburn training facility, for a very long time. But over the last, about a year and a half ago, I know our economic development people and our Secretary of Commerce began to understand that they were at least considering options and also looking for another site for the training camp and moving it outside of Loudoun County so that the players would be away from home to really focus on football. I remember as a kid when they were in Carlisle Barracks up in Pennsylvania. That used to be the place, and now they moved back home. So they were going to go somewhere else, anywhere for their training camp, and we started talking to them a little bit, and in the course of the discussions suggested Richmond, Virginia. As I mentioned earlier, this is the heart of their fan base in Virginia. I think the majority of the season ticket holders come from Virginia. So we started talking about making that permanent headquarters in Loudoun County, having some in Ashburn, having some additional investments made, and the Redskins committed, I believe, to about $30 million to do some facility upgrades in Loudoun County. And so that puts really a long-term stake and footprint from the Redskins in Loudoun County. I think the agreement is actually 8 years, if I remember. The actual commitment in the deal is 8 years here and 8 years for that home in Loudoun County. But that's a long time, and we're going to continue to be such a good host to them that there won't be any place else but Virginia to stay, and so we think that's a good thing. And I mentioned the economic impact. We invested about $4 million from Virginia. Loudoun County invested some. The city of Richmond, $2 million, Dwight, was it? $2 million. And so all that together is the kind of thing with $9.8 million of tax revenue per year. You can see that that's a pretty good economic arrangement for the taxpayers of Virginia and Richmond.
Joe, you've been to these summer camps before. A lot of players or a lot of fans want to know how much interaction they'll actually have with the players. What insight can you give us?
Well, what happens is when we get into a city like we did in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, you go to the restaurants, you go to the areas of libation. How's that for a description, I guess? But you know, these are men we're talking about. So what you wind up with is you wind up seeing a lot of them around the city. And I think that just enhances the fan experience, to be able to look at someone in the flesh and say, oh, I saw Robert Griffin III out to dinner, or I saw Ryan Kerrigan, or I saw Alfred Morris, or I saw Adam Carrick, or all the different guys that will be here in this area. People dream about the opportunity to be able to see a professional football player up close and personal. Now here in the city of Richmond, they're going to get that opportunity. Plus you'll get people coming down from the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. You'll get them coming up from Virginia Beach. The location is so convenient. Off to my left is 95. Probably a 9-iron away. Now that I'm older, I talk in golf and not in terms of throwing footballs. So you have the convenience of the location, the high quality of the facility, and the opportunity to have the players get themselves integrated into the community, and albeit just for 3 weeks. But it's amazing the impact that a player can have coming into a hotbed Redskin area and how it affects everybody in the community.
Joe, what were your initial thoughts when you first heard training camp was coming to Richmond? And I heard you talking about it in there, but how valuable can it be for a team to get away for 3 weeks away from its home city?
I think it's incredibly valuable. I felt like when we used to train in Carlisle, and it's a relative distance. I drove from my home, it's a little over 2 hours, and that's out in Loudoun County. So, and Carlisle was about 2 hours away, similar drive. But you really get a chance to be around your own players. Coaches get a chance to control the environment instead of having the guys go off home, try and figure out when you're going to get them to go home. What you have is you have a centrally located area where you can totally focus and concentrate on building camaraderie, building a team concept, getting the guys to understand that we're all in this thing together. I felt like when we were in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, we developed a mentality that it was us against the world. And you can only do that when you have everybody in a confined area. And that's exactly what they'll have here, where they're staying, I believe, at the Omni. And then they'll be able to train here at this facility. So the proximity of the players to one another is very, very important. You don't need to be the most talented football team. You don't need to be the biggest. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't need to be the fastest. But I have found time and time again, whether it's an organization or whether it's an athletic endeavor, if you care about one another and you spend enough time together, that overcomes a lot of things that you maybe weren't quite as good as people thought. So I think it's very important.
I have a question for Joe and for Mr. Bernard, actually, on more of a news front. What does this facility mean to the to health around Richmond and around the Virginia area, the health standards around here, Mr. Bernard? Right over here, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you for that question. We've opened up now 3 sports medicine facilities and looking for additional expansion, and it's our way of giving back in terms of fitness and wellness, and especially for athletes that might need some rehabilitation in terms of our physical medicine and rehabilitation program, fitness, wellness, education. The headquarters for our Move and Mania program, which is to address childhood obesity, will be located here, and we also have a primary care clinic, so it'll bring access to primary care to this needed spot as well. So it fits very, very closely to our ambulatory network strategy. So thank you for asking that question.
One more real quick. One more.
And Joe, I don't know if this has been asked of you before, but latter part of your career, you suffered what somewhat might call a minor leg injury.
I'm the godfather of broken legs. You're right.
And I just want to know if you have spoken to RG3, and if you have, what have you said to him about rehabbing, about going through that whole process, about having to come back from something like that?
Actually, listening to what Peter had to say got me thinking about the time I've spent with Robert at the Andrews Clinic down in Pensacola. And through the entire off season, having a facility like this available to the athletes and to the public in this Richmond area is so vital to the wellness of people in general. From a nutritional standpoint, from a rehabilitation standpoint, you're giving people something more than they would get if they tried to do it on their own. Robert's way ahead of schedule as far as I'm concerned. And you hear other people talk about he shouldn't do this, he shouldn't do that. The only thing that he's going to have to do is understand that if it's 3rd down and 15 and he can only pick up 12 yards, take the 12 and go back and start over. Robert has such a win-win mentality that to him every endeavor in life is about winning. And what we've talked about is how do you define wins? Wins are running out of bounds so that you can take another snap. Wins are getting down so you don't take that unnecessary hit. So from my perspective, you're dealing with an ultra-smart, ultra-gifted athlete who is driven like very few people I've ever been around. When they say his rehabilitation, I just said it is ahead of schedule. If you ask Robert, it's right on schedule. I fully expect him to be dressed on Monday night against the Philadelphia Eagles when the Redskins open their season. I'd be very, very surprised if he's not.
This question is for Mayor Jones. Mr. Mayor, given the attraction this will be and the number of fans you're expecting, how has the police department been preparing, and who will be footing the bill for that security?
Well, of course, our police are working with surrounding jurisdictions and our partners in public safety to make sure that everybody who comes here will have a good experience. Obviously, there might be a bump in terms of costs for that security, but we don't want this wonderful opportunity to be spoiled by any type of public safety issues. And so we'll do whatever it takes to make sure that people who come here know that they're going to be safe. We've had several meetings, and there are continuing meetings with our public safety officials and our partners in public safety to make sure
that it's going to be a safe venue.
Let's take a few more. Any over here? Any questions?
Hi, Dave Lawrence, Richmond Suburban News. I want to bore down a bit more into the health question, both for Theismann and Bernard. How important is a facility like this for research into the treatment of sports injuries and also spreading the message about best practices for the prevention and treatment of sports injuries?
I think it's very important. I think any time that you can create the environment for education, for rehabilitation, for nutritional needs, if there's a place to go, someone has a source of information to be able to seek, then you're going to get a lot of people to come. And I think that's exactly what's happening here at the Bon Secours facility. As far as the other elements go, they all follow in suit. What happens is once you start to see results from different things, more and more people will come. And that's exactly what I think you're going to find here. In the beginning, you will have the athletes, and then more and more people are going to find that treatment, more than just an hour, can get you a lot further. And really, where we are in society today when it comes to obesity and health in general, you look at the vitamins, you look at the way people exercise, you look at the length of time people are living now, how much longer they are. You know, we're a society that is going to be more and more reliant on health needs. And Bon Secours has created the initial stages of a facility that will be able to accommodate the people of the Richmond area, I think in a very, very efficient way.
Last question right here.
Oh, Peter's not done. Phase two.
Phase two. Well, again, as was mentioned earlier, Bon Secours is very committed to our physical medicine and rehabilitation program. We're real proud of the new sports medicine activities, state-of-the-art equipment. We're doing some clinical trials, bundled payments to help reduce costs. Our physical medicine and rehabilitation physicians, along with our orthopedic surgeons and our neurosurgeons, are the best. And we have a number of affiliated programs that make us state-of-the-art. So our situation in terms of leading edge, in terms of clinical outcomes, ranks right there as one of the top systems in the country, and we're real proud of that.
All right, this is for Governor McDonald. Your thoughts on how quickly this all got done here at the facility and how it looks when it's finished?
Well, it's remarkable. It's a team effort, obviously, led by the Redskins organization, but with tremendous leadership by Mayor Jones and all of his city council. Bon Secours stepping up right away to be the lead sponsor. The state did its part. I mean, this is, I think, the best of some of those public-private partnerships we talk about a lot. I was amazed. I haven't been here in about 6 months, so when I drove up, I have to say, coming here for that groundbreaking, Dwight, a year ago, I was floored when I saw this today. But it just shows when you get people that are really willing to put their hand to the plow, how quickly things can get done. Nobody's worried about who gets the credit. They just want to get some things done. So it's marvelous for all the reasons that Joe and Peter have mentioned. And, of course, the best part's 3 weeks from now when the team is here and all those starry-eyed young kids that have never seen an NFL player in person can watch and then get the autographs after them and maybe cause them to dream big and be the next NFL star 20 years from now. I mean, that's what, to me, is exciting about having the Redskins here.